Most people grow up believing that debt is something to fear. They are told to avoid it at all costs, to pay everything in cash, and to live within their means. While this may sound safe, it also keeps most people trapped in the same financial cycle, working hard, saving a little, and never building real wealth. The truth is, rich people see debt very differently. They understand that debt is not the enemy, it is a tool. When used wisely, it can accelerate wealth creation far faster than saving alone ever could. The key difference between the rich and everyone else is how they use debt. Poor and middle-class people often use debt to buy things that lose value, such as cars, clothes, electronics, or vacations. These are liabilities. They take money out of your pocket every month. Rich people, however, use debt to acquire assets, things that generate income or appreciate in value over time. They borrow money to invest in real estate, businesses, or other opportunities that produce cash flow. For them, debt is not an expense, it's a source of leverage. Leverage is the secret that separates the wealthy from the average. When you use debt as leverage, you're using other people's money to control more income-producing assets than you could with your own cash alone. For example, imagine someone wants to buy a property worth $500,000. A person who thinks small will wait years to save the entire amount, missing opportunities in the process. A person who understands leverage, however, might invest $100,000 of their own money and borrow the rest. If the property increases in value by just 10%, that's a $50,000 gain on a $100,000 investment, a 50% return. Meanwhile, the tenants pay rent that covers the loan payments. This is how wealthy people grow their money faster than those who rely only on savings. Real estate is one of the most common examples of using debt to build wealth. Banks are willing to lend money for property because it's a tangible asset that usually appreciates. Smart investors use the bank's money to buy properties that generate rental income. Over time, the rent pays off the mortgage and the investor builds equity without using much of their own money. Once the property has gained value, they can refinance or sell it to invest in more assets. This process can be repeated again and again, creating multiple streams of income and long-term wealth. Debt is also a powerful tool for entrepreneurs. Many successful business owners borrow money not to survive, but to grow. They understand that taking on debt can help them expand faster than relying only on profits. A business owner might borrow $50,000 to hire staff, buy better equipment, or launch a new product. If those investments generate $200,000 in additional revenue, the debt was a smart move. Rich people don't fear debt because they focus on the return it creates, not the amount they owe. They treat every loan as a strategic investment that must bring back more than it costs. The real difference lies in mindset. Most people see debt as something dangerous and negative. Rich people see it as neutral. It becomes good or bad depending on how it's used. They don't borrow emotionally, they borrow mathematically. Every financial move they make is based on logic, data, and potential returns. Borrowing money at 5% to earn 10% is smart. Borrowing money to buy luxury items is foolish. The wealthy understand this principle deeply, which is why their debt often works for them while the debt of others works against them. Another secret of the rich is the use of other people's money, often called OPM. Instead of relying only on their own savings, they use money from investors, banks, or partners to fund projects and investments. A real estate developer, for example, might raise money from investors to build an apartment complex. The developer earns profits from managing the project, keeps ownership in part of the property, and grows wealth even though most of the money came from others. This is how wealth multiplies, by using trust, capital, and partnerships strategically. To use debt effectively, you must develop discipline and knowledge. Only borrow when the debt is tied to something that will generate income or increase in value. Always calculate the return on investment and ensure it exceeds the cost of borrowing. Protect your credit score so you can access low-interest loans when opportunities appear. And never take on debt that your cash flow can't support. The rich respect debt. They don't abuse it. They use it as a tool for growth, not a shortcut for consumption. Debt is not the problem. Ignorance is. When you use debt to buy liabilities, you become a slave to it. But when you use debt to buy assets, you make it your servant. The poor work for money, while the rich make money work for them, often through borrowed funds. The real power of debt lies in your mindset and how you use it. If you approach it with education, patience, and strategy, debt can become the bridge between where you are and where you want to be financially. The next time you think about borrowing money, ask yourself one question. Will this debt make me richer or poorer? If it brings money back into your pocket, it's a tool. If it only takes money out, it's a trap. Wealthy people know this truth and use it to their advantage every day. They don't fear debt, they master it. And that mastery is one of the greatest reasons they keep getting richer while others stay stuck.